Hi guys, how you doing? I hope you are doing fine, and I'd like to welcome you all to the first of a batch of classes that I'm gonna be making to teach you guys, for especially those who wants to learn programming in Python. And what is my point teaching this? Because there's a lot of people who wants to learn programming in Python now, especially because a lot of companies are searching for these people, basically to start working with data science or in finances. So today I'm gonna be teaching you how to plot a chart, which is simple at first sight, but I promise you that according with the class, we're gonna be learning how to make this chart complete, beautiful, and showing more information. So today we're gonna be learning this part in this first class. So now, how do we start it? Our first step is to import the library used in Python to plot this kind of chart, which is matplotlib dot pyplot splot. And what are we doing here? Basically, matplotlib is a library used to plot charts with Python. And when we say that we call it matplotlib.pyplot splot, we are saying that this plt is like a key. It's a command, to tell Python that we want to use the tools of matplotlib using here. Since we want to plot a figure in a chart, we have to tell Python that we want to do a fig by so telling it we want to plot a figure, and we're gonna tell Python that we want to plot two axes. This ax means the axis, which is those axes here, the x axle and the y axle. Okay, so we will use the plt key to tell Python that we want to use matplotlib tools dot subplots, and we're gonna make this parentheses here, because there's one thing that you need to know about Python is that Python will do everything you want it to do. You just have to tell it. We'll write here inside this parentheses. So I'm gonna write plt dot show to tell Python that I want him to show me this figure. And when I come over here, up here, and we'll click to run my file, Python will show me a figure and two axes, in the x and in the y axis. But actually our chart is still very empty. So we're gonna tell Python another things that we want him to plot inside our chart. We want to tell Python to plot this line here, showing the points that we have to 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 5, and 4 and 11. So I'm gonna tell Python that I'm gonna have 4 points. Then I'm gonna write here labels to tell Python that I'm gonna have 4 points, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we have two axes. We're gonna tell Python that we have two vectors, and the first vector is gonna be the x, and it's gonna be time, and we have the second, which is gonna be the strength. We have these two axes, and for time we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 points, and the strength when we have 1 in time. We have 2 to strength for 2 in time. We have 3 on strength for 3 at time. We have 5 in strength, and at 4 to the time we have 11 to the strength. So we just told here to Python that we have these 4 points on our vectors, and the next step here is to tell Python that we want him to plot this line. So you have to write the code here, x.plot, and the parentheses. And in this part of the code, we're gonna tell Python that we want him to put these two vectors inside our plot, our line plotted. Python will understand one thing here, that the first element here inside the parentheses is gonna be the element which is gonna be plotted in the x point, okay? And this second element is gonna be the vector that Python will plot on the x axis. So since we want to put time on x, we'll do right here time, and since we want to put the string on ui, we're gonna write here strength. And just right to understand, when we write here in the first element time, we are telling Python for him to come here and take the elements and the values that we have on time vector. And when we write the strength on the second element, we are telling Python to him to come back over here and take these values on the strength vector. So at this point, we're not gonna, when we run the file, but I just plotted this line here. Okay, so our chart is still very empty. There's not much things in here. We have to put the title, we have to put this time reading here, we have to strength here, reading here. So how do we do that? Just remember, just like I told you guys, every single time you want Python to do something, we just have to tell it. So when I want Python to put a title inside the chart, I just have to write x.set underline title and put the parentheses. Remembering that every single time that I want Python to do something, I will put inside the parentheses. This part of the code is telling Python what I want him to do, and inside the parentheses I want to tell Python what I want him to write there. So I'm gonna write here chart, and I just tell Python that I want him to do a title reading chart, and when I run the file, I have chart here in the title. The next step is to do the axis. So I want to do the X label, and I'm gonna write here x.set underline X label, and write inside parentheses time. I'm telling Python that I want him to write time in the X label, and I want to tell Python to write in the Y label, writing x.set underline Y label, and I want to write that string. Okay, so okay, that's done. We have time in the X, we have strength in the Y, and the title. So here I finished the first class, and I just want to tell you guys that you don't have to remember those codes here. You don't need to have this inside your mind. Every single time you have a doubt about what and how to do this code, you could just go website or blog where you can find the references to do. I'm gonna let there feed to you guys some blogs or some websites for you to take out your doubts. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this class, and I'll wait you to the next class. Thank you and goodbye.